What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, 1 week away from Colts football again. It's a great time to be alive. Really loving this. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. Greatly appreciate it. I know the videos have been a little bit slow over the last couple of days. We've been trying to get some stuff done. I've been dealing with some stuff at home. Cody's doing that as well. So it's kind of been a little difficult for us to get some videos done recently. But now that the swing of things are now moving into the season, videos are going to come out a lot more frequently, and we're going to keep you guys more updated on things going forward. So greatly appreciate you guys for hanging in there and supporting us. Greatly appreciate it. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and get into the topic of this video. Talk about some of the most improved Colts of the 2023 season. So Colts that played last year are going to improve drastically. Now, I think we can all sit here and say that there is a very good chunk of players who played in 2022 with this team that definitely could improve drastically from what they were. So believe me, I know there's a lot of guys that you can put on this list, but I think that if you look at it from one perspective, you could see it. And then if you want to go drastic, you could say a couple other guys. I'm just looking more along the realistic lines for me of who I think is going to do it and some guys that Cody had mentioned. So let's kind of hop into it. I know Cody had mentioned Michael Pittman Jr. I don't know how much this season he's actually going to improve because of our quarterback situation, how our offense is going to be ran. I don't know how much more effective Pittman will become. But that is a name that Cody wanted to throw out there because, like we said, last year, Michael Pittman was just not really himself. And that's, of course, for a lot of different reasons. And one of them being the team wasn't playing well and the quarterback situation was terrible. So it is what it is. But I think we can all sit here and agree that when it comes to the biggest improvement, the offensive line is definitely going to be the most improved when it comes to the 2023 Indianapolis Colts. At least that's what we hope will happen, because if we don't, then Anthony Richardson's going to have a long year. But I think the offensive line is going to improve. Bernhard Raimann was another one that we had mentioned. We remembered last year, last half of the season, Bernhard Raimann was playing very well at the end of the season. And this year, looking for him to continue to sustain that success. And from all accounts, it's sounding like Bernhard Raimann had a fantastic camp and is ready to go. So it's fantastic to hear that. Of course, I have to bring in Quentin Nelson in here. Quentin Nelson, who last season gave up more sacks last year than his previous 4 years prior to that. Actually, yeah, it's 3 years prior to that. So you have to think about it. Quentin Nelson's got to have a comeback year. I think that he is going to have that year that he is going to remind people that he is still a top guard in this league and one of the best offensive linemen in this league. I think he's going to remind people of that. And of course, I talk about Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly, a lot of times last year, had a lot of communication problems with the O-line and the quarterback and everything else. I think Ryan Kelly is going to drastically improve this year and get back into shape. So that's talking about the offensive line perspective. Moving on to a couple other guys here. I think that a person who will gradually improve is Kylen Granson. Kylen Granson, who was drafted just 2.5 years ago. When we talked about it, the first year he only caught 15 balls last year, or his rookie year, and then proceeded to catch 35 the next year. So he drastically improved from his rookie year to his second year, despite the issue of the quarterback and how the offense was ran. And we've already seen, and it's been very apparent through all of training camp and preseason games, how much Shane Steichen has liked getting Kylen Granson involved in the offense, because of Kylan Granson's skill set of being able to get open. He's a natural route runner, being able to get open, make great catches, and then run after the catch is a very good skill set for Kylan Granson that not many other big tight ends like we have on this roster are able to do. And of course, with all of the injuries that are happening with this roster, you're also going to get Kylan Granson's usage up a little bit more than what it typically would be for most other times because of Drew Ogletree just getting back. Drew Ogletree still younger. Will Mallory is still only a rookie, so he's a little bit behind the mark. And Mo Alley-Cox is not much of a receiving guy anymore in the open field. He would rather have that for Kylan Granson. And of course, with Jelani Woods being out for at least the first couple of weeks, so the presumed number one tight end being out on IR to start the year, Kylan Granson is going to get a good chunk of usage. So that is going to be someone that is going to drastically improve. Now, we move on to some of the defensive players. I wanted to mention a couple of defensive linemen. I would like to sit here and say that Kwity Paye and Dayo Odeyingbo will improve some of the most, but I don't know how they're going to improve because we've seen it many times that they just either Kwity Paye gets hurt or we have Dayo Odeyingbo just not getting much of the usage. I will just have to wait and see who is going to expand on that one. Now, when we talk about most improved, there's a couple guys from in the line, or not in the linebacker core, in the defensive back core. Kenny Moore has to be the one, right? There was a lot of people last year that were questioning Kenny Moore, and rightfully so. Kenny Moore had a very bad season last year, was getting picked apart by almost every receiver he faced. And it was just not the typical Kenny Moore that we were used to seeing. And I feel after seeing him practice, after watching him in training camp, everything else everyone's saying, Kenny Moore looks like the old Kenny Moore again. And I'm hoping to see him back, extending on what he once was. And then another guy that we can talk about, and that is Nick Cross. And that was the big one throughout camp, was Nick Cross has taken the reins on being more prepared during practices and during games, and it has shown in the games. He's been making a lot of tackles. He's been hitting people really hard. Seems to be a lot more in tune with what's going on the field, which is exactly what you want to see in a young athletic safety like Nick Cross. Now, and because for another thing, we know when it comes to the injuries to the safety room, there's only 4 safeties right now. So you know that he is going to get a lot more looks this year because of things like that. So that's another thing. I could mention Dallas Flowers. I don't know how much you could say he improved because he didn't really have a lot of usage last year in the defensive side of things. So I don't know if you can really say that much, but that's really going to do it for this one, guys. This is a video here talking about some of the most improved Colts from 2022 to 2023. Let me know your thoughts on this. Did I miss anyone? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.